Good morning. My name is Brevan Reyher, and I serve as the project lead for the Data Center Facility Project in OCP, and as well the Design and Build Engineer for Rackspace. I'm here today to speak to you regarding the OCP Ready Program. This is the shortened name for the OCP Ready Facility Recognition Program for Colo Solution Providers. And because I'd rather not have to say that mouthful every time, we'll just call it OCP Ready. What is the program? It's a set of guidelines for the deployment of OCP, which lays out the information on OCP rack and hardware design, in particular around the differences it has from traditional IT deployments and the impact that has on the data center facility. Extending from those guidelines is the checklist and site assessment, which helps support the OCP Ready program. The checklist details the OCP foundation requirements, while the site assessment focuses on the mechanical, electrical, and architectural aspects of the facility. These are the must-have attributes that we have determined to be required to enable the deployment of OCP hardware. For Colo Solution Providers, it allows them to perform a self-audit of their facility and to understand their readiness to deploy OCP gear. If the facility meets the requirements, then they can pursue recognition within the OCP Foundation. For OCP users, it allows them to review the attributes of the facility and determine if they want to contact that Colo Solution Provider to pursue leasing data center space. Why do we have this program? The majority of the open compute hardware is deployed as fully populated racks. Data center facilities must be able to accommodate the racks of these weights and dimensions to be able to deploy the hardware. The density of compute to meet scale-out demands and efficiency goals in effect has an increase in power per rack and associated cooling requirements, which some data centers may not be able to support. The goal of the program is to identify Colo Solution Providers and facilities that an end user can deploy into without delay or complications. And for the how, there are two different work streams that a provider needs to work through. The first is the facility recognition. Step one, review the Colo facility guidelines on the OCP website. Step two, complete the OCP Colo site assessment self-audit. Step three, provide the site assessment and present to the data center facility community and gain incubation committee approval. And step four, there's the OCP Ready certification mark agreement as part of the program. The second work stream is the Colo Solution Provider. Step one, you need to be or become an OCP tiered corporate member. The program is open to any of the tiers: platinum, gold, silver, or community. Step two, complete the facility recognition requirements previously discussed. On three, execute the Colo SP and copyright agreements. And step four, you can go out and market your OCP Ready facility on the marketplace. Now, what does the marketplace look like? On the marketplace, the listings can be found using the filters on the left pane. The status is OCP Ready, and the category is Facility. Each Colo Solution Provider is also listed under the Solution Provider filter. Within the listing, you can use this space as you see fit. Components include company logo, website link, email contact information for the sales organization, photos of the facility. You have a title to describe. You also have a short description that you can use from a marketing perspective. Proud to say that we have the first two facilities which are published on the marketplace as part of this program. Gerard Thibault and the KO Data team have completed the requirements for their first facility. Gerard presented the KO Data Facility at the Regional Summit in Amsterdam in October, and you can see this presentation on the YouTube channel. Switch data centers from Amsterdam have also completed the requirements, and I'm joined here today by Edgar van Essen, the Managing Director. Welcome, Edgar. Can you come on up here to the stage?
Good morning, everybody. I'm Edgar van Essen. I'm from Amsterdam, and since a year I work for Switch Data Center in Amsterdam. Switch is one of the challengers in the Dutch market. The Dutch market is currently pretty booming due to the Brexit situation in the UK. At this point in time, we see a huge influx of international accounts moving away from the British Island and actually setting up twin locations in mainland Europe. And in mainland Europe, you actually have two choices. Either you go to Frankfurt or you go to Amsterdam. And both markets are extremely in demand as we speak. So we see a real boom in the data center industry in both regions. And at this point in time, Amsterdam is attacking the London position and the expectations are that we could grow just as large as London in a few years. So next to that, Amsterdam is also more or less developing itself as a hyperscale market, where we see just north of Amsterdam a whole new campus being built. Microsoft just is building more than 300 megawatts there. Cyrus One has landed there. Everybody is already in that place. And we foresee that it could be the new Ashburn of Western Europe. It's a huge scale, and so Amsterdam actually has the inner city region, and it has the, let's say, the Middenmeer area, which is what we think will be the new Ashburn area in Europe. And Switch is playing in all those markets. We currently run 3 data centers in the Amsterdam region. We started actually in 1998 as a hosting company, and were ourselves a customer with, at that point in time, the earliest data center called Telecity. Later, Telecity was acquired by Equinix. And the founders were quite successful of that hosting company, and they started to grow. And by growing, they found that they didn't get the service they wanted in that data center, and decided, being entrepreneurs, to build their own data center. So they were one of the first to do that. And by doing that, actually, they also had to gain all the knowledge of building a data center and keeping it up to date. So as of 8 years, this hosting company has been redoing its sites, rebuilding, and learned the hard way how to build data centers. So we have all the practical knowledge ourselves how to build it. And using that knowledge, actually, we were approached by IBM in the Netherlands, who had big sites, and they were making a lot of operational cost on that. And they approached us whether we wanted to do an upgrade ourselves and run the sites for them. So we did a sell and lease back with IBM for one of the sites, and inherited a former IBM site, including customers. So that was a second data center, and the third data center we launched 2 years ago. That was a big hosting company that wanted to have their own site. We're also standing in a colocation facility, and we deliberately built that and designed it for them using a patented concept that brings us to a PUE of 1.15 using indirect adiabatic cooling. And we have a patented design for that allows us to staple floors. And actually, it's an infinited modular building concept. So we can build all sizes of buildings, and we can even have several floors. So Switch developed itself from being more or less an end customer initially to a site developer. So at this point in time, we have retail colocation, but the focus is shifting to site development and wholesale. And that's the reason why we are very much into building ourselves. And therefore, we also think it's pretty important to contribute all the knowledge to the OCP community. And one of the guys, of the original founders, Gregor Snip, He's currently the CEO of the company still. He has been personally very much involved already for many years in the OCP community, and almost from the beginning, more or less by luck, because one of his better friends and customers also in the past, Menno Kortekaas from Circle B, he is more or less a friend of the house. So he has his equipment in the building. So there has been a lot of discussions already with Menno in the last years, how to do OCP, what OCP is about. So for us, it was relatively easy to do something with that. And we all had the feeling we need to show OCP to the outside audience because it was a little bit hidden in the press. That made us decide, together with Rital, Andre Hiddink, who is sitting in the back, to do something together. And we decided in October to launch a European Experience Center for OCP, which is on our data floor. And there we actually have an amount of racks, including active equipment. And the intention is to show people on the floor what OCP is about, how it's different than regular racks, how to use it. And actually we're more or less opening up our data center floor for customers who want to touch and feel OCP gear in a real life environment. And we're also planning to do more training and other events in our building just to promote OCP. So we are, in that sense, very much OCP eager, and for us it's a very good way to differentiate ourselves against the big corporates that are around us. Amsterdam is, of course, a very mature market, so we have the Equinixes of this world, the Interactions, but also all the American players are now there. They're pretty corporate. For us, the only way to stand out, being a local company and being different than the rest, is to actually embrace innovation. So we are the ones that are showing the innovation in the scene, and OCP is the ideal way of doing that.
So regarding the OCP Ready program, how did you hear about it? And what was your experience navigating the process and completing the site assessment?
Well, as I said, we were in a lucky position to have Menno Kortekaas close to us. Menno introduced us quite soon to Mark Danzy, also John Leban and Steve Helvey at a certain point in time. So we were quite soon involved already in defining the OCP standards, and also we contributed ourselves with some papers in the past already to showing our building ideas to the rest of the community. So for us, it's more or less natural, and thanks to people like Menno, who are the early adopters, we're also a part of that.
Thanks. So you started mentioning a differentiator. How do you see this listing and the OCP Ready program benefiting your business?
Well, as I said, we try being in a very mature markets where all the big companies are around us to have a different image. We're not, in that sense, the big corporate players. We're much more flexible. We're just entrepreneurial guys who have all the knowledge in-house, and also taking a much more aggressive position to the market than the big corporates. At this point in time, we are developing new buildings, as you can see on this picture. This is our current data center where we have the OCP demo set up. The guys who have been in Amsterdam at the OCP seminar in October, they might have visited it, because we actually had a bus driving from the RAI where the event was to our site. And for me, we haven't officially discussed it, but it's okay if we do that again in the next Amsterdam conference. So if you want to visit our site, that can be part of the program. So for us, it's OCP is part of our DNA. We want to be different. We try to challenge the regular ways of working, and we were also the first ones to have a very low PUE based on our indirect adiabatic cooling. So innovation is the way we try to differentiate ourselves in this market, and OCP for us is the ideal way of doing that.
Great. Thank you for joining. If you're interested in being a colocation provider, you can explore and access the requirements on the OCP website. The foundation staff is available to assist you with any of the legal agreements or understanding the requirements there. You can also email myself and Rob Bunger, the volunteer leaders for the project, and we can help you kick off and navigate that recognition work stream. If you're a user or community member interested in knowing more or contributing and supporting this program, you can also reach out to us and join in on the data center facility mailing list and come and join. And when I'm talking about contributions and supporting, if you have a contact at a Colo Solution Provider that you know that is not aware of this program that may want to enter into it, let us know, give us their contact information, help us grow this marketplace and the listings that we have. We're interested in the US region. We're establishing in many of the countries in mainland Europe, and also interested in Australia and APAC, Australia and Asia as well.
What definitely might help is, at this point in time, we have this OCP setup, this demo. It would be really good if we can also host some customers with real live OCP racks. So it's then you walk the talk, and then you actually start showing real life that this stuff is possible. So if you are an operator or an IT company and you would like to be part of this, it would be really nice to also bring your racks to Amsterdam in our data centers. And we can host you from small to 30 megawatt sites if you want. We currently have more positions in all sizes, so for all type of customers we can facilitate that.
And a continually evolving information will be updated on the wiki page specifically for OCP Ready. Do you guys have any questions for me or Edgar? Yes, sir. Yep.
So for the OCP Colo, so if you have customers, they have to bring the OCP approved equipment to the Colo?
Yeah, in the end, if it's OCP approved, we know exactly how to configure it in our colocation facility. That's why we're OCP ready. So if you have OCP gear and you want to get it in a colo, and normally I think you would like, a lot of people would raise their eyebrows and they say, well, not in my colocation facility because we're not ready for it. So we have the knowledge, and that's why we're in this program to make sure that we can host your racks.
But the question is how much really the data center provider is really into the OCP Colo ready facilities. How many customers you think?
At this point, it's early in time. So for us, it's spreading the news. I think it's in both sides. I think there are a lot of end users that are still not actively searching for colocation facilities. And it's a lot of colocation facilities who don't understand OCP yet. So it's a matter of sharing the news from both sides. So we see ourselves as a front runner in the colocation area. So we also bring this in our Dutch Data Center Association, which is actually the overcoupling, let's say the industry association for data centers. And all the main colocation players are part of that. And we bring it in as a topic. So also we teach them that it could be good to do something on OCP. The reality right now is that the demand as a colocation provider from real life customers who want to put their OCP racks in a colocation data center is still relatively low. So I think that's the question to all the guys here in the audience. And if you have racks and you like to do something with your racks in, for instance, Amsterdam or in London, then it would be really beneficial for everybody to also use these colos mentioned here as early, let's say, start facilities.
Yeah, I think, originally the companies deploying OCP were hyperscalers. They were bringing down large data center spaces or building it themselves. But as OCP matures and as enterprise customers and small to medium businesses begin to deploy that, they don't have their own data centers. And so this program and Switch Data Centers and those are making themselves available in preparation for those smaller companies to deploy OCP gear in their facilities. So we're at the forefront and we're being prepared for that eventual need.
That is definitely making sense, right? But currently I'm just thinking hyperscale go to the OCP data center is making a lot of sense. But if you go down to enterprise or something, is the ecosystem there? How do I know it's ready? Do they have the control, software, everything ready for them to run the OCP data center themselves?
I think that that's outside of our view here. I think that you are mentioning areas such as the embedded software, hardware management projects, and they are doing some great work on that side. We are looking at the physical aspect, the electrical aspect, and so we're prepared for that, but we haven't looked at the sort of design, operation, configuration of the OCP systems. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for joining us here.